For my major economic event, um, I chose Super Bowl 51 in Houston. Looking at my Article 1, it's the Houston Press. The Super Bowl may bring a $500 million boost to Houston or none at all by Steve Jansen. Um, Breaking down some of the main points of the article, the first quotation states there that most of the public relations firms claim that the Super Bowl committee hired more out-of-state companies instead of Houston companies for promotions. It's kind of funny. They quote the LA apparently knows Houston better than Houston itself, so I thought that was kind of funny. Um, the state will earmark between 20 to 25 million towards the host committee's costs from its major events trust. This trust is funded by statewide sales taxes, hotel taxes, alcohol, and rental car taxes. The BBVA research in December estimated a 69 million net economic impact from Super Bowl 51. It's worth noting that critics say that these hoped for injections to the local gross domestic product is mainly based on bogus assumptions and shamefully overblown numbers. The number that they said was 500 million, while Andrew Zimbalist here said, oddly enough, that's the number every year. These impact studies use very little assumptions. Most of them are just not realistic and way overblown, making the Super Bowl seem on the outside looking in that it does a lot more than it actually does. They brought up a secret bid document unearthed by the Star Tribune in Minneapolis that the NFL snatches every cent of Super Bowl ticket revenue, that the ticket revenue of the stadium does not go to the community. It also went on to state that the NFL forces the host city to pay a state sales tax rebate on the game tickets and parking fees. These league officials are exempt from forking over sales tax during official NFL events. So that's more money that could be going into the community that is being held out. They delve into the crowding out effect that many people, the Super Bowl brings in so many people and so much noise and excitement that a lot of people don't want to be there for it, that they want to get out of town and not have to deal with the absolute craziness of the Super Bowl being in town. They went on to talk about these jacked up hotel rates and how they don't benefit hourly and minimum wage employees. The Super Bowl's guaranteed almost to fill up just about every hotel in town, and these jacked up rates are only benefiting the stakeholders, as the hourly workers and minimum wage employees aren't seeing a $300 to $400% increase in their pay. They're still getting paid the same thing, but these jacked up prices has all this more money coming into the hotel, and the employees aren't seeing that. It's going to the shareholders of these hotels. My second article is by the Houston Business. The article is "The Results Are In: How Much the 2017 Super Bowl Brought to Houston" by Joe Martin. This article mainly brought a lot of numbers to the equation of how much money was actually brought into the city of Houston. So, starting off, we have the Super Bowl brought in $347 million into the greater Houston economy. $102 million was of the ripple effect through the economy. $93 million of goods and services came from outside of the city of Houston. So, subtracting that from our $347 million plus the $102 million of the ripple effect, we get $338 million total that Houston benefited from the Super Bowl. So the $347 million to the greater Houston economy, and then arguing out the $102 million of the ripple effect and $93 million of goods and services that came from outside Houston. The report is that $338 million in total is what came into Houston alone. This is $107 million more than the Super Bowl last year. It's estimated that $428 million spending in the 2 weeks of the Super Bowl are spent in the surrounding area. There was an estimated 150,000 visitors into the area. Of these visitors, 4 million were given to 78 local charities in the area. Houston having a large homeless problem, this is very huge for them. 417 businesses participated in the NFL's Business Connect program. There was the Super Bowl contributed a combined $39 million to the state and local tax base, and the Super Bowl supported 4,480 jobs in the area. Moving on to my evaluation of the two articles. What the big question here is where the money's going. The second article really points and brings out, all this money coming in to the Houston area, but the first article really shows where the money's going, and it's going, the rich are getting richer. The money is not trickling down as one would hope. So the average person in the Houston area is not seeing much of a difference and making much money. Now, that's not to say local businesses in the area are still going to have a great increase of spending for these couple days from people flooding in, but the bulk of the money is going to stakeholders and hotels and the NFL and so on. So that leaves us with, does Houston really benefit from the Super Bowl? Well, if the money coming into the community, the $4 million in charities is a huge benefit to the town. There's no denying that. But, of the $338 million that came in to the area, how much of that went to stakeholders? How much of that went back to the NFL and things of that nature? How much did the average citizen really see of that, and businesses in the area? So, there's questions that are still to be answered here. So, in the end, which article do I agree with? I agree more with Article 2. I'm a bit more of a positive person. With all that money flooding in, the big point of the Article 1 was, hotels jack up their prices, and you see that money's going to the stakeholders, not the employees. Well, a lot of these local businesses are going to do the same thing. And, they're not dumb. They know all the people are coming. They know they're going to spend the money. And it's all this outside money flowing into the economy too. It's not necessarily money that the community's spending through itself. It's outside money coming in. And granted, the money, a lot of that money, well, we don't know how much, but I'm sure a lot of that money is going to the stakeholders. But there's no denying that the Super Bowl is bringing in a huge amount of money into the area, and I would expect the trickle-down effect to have somewhat of an effect. So I think Houston really does benefit from the hosting the Super Bowl. All this, even with most of the money even going to stakeholders, it's still, they'll build something new, they'll expand their business, that brings more jobs, that brings more money into the community, and you're gonna see the trickle down effect, I think, in this situation. Last, my references.